Hello, happy summer. I hope that you are able to enjoy the warmer weather and taking advantage of being able to be outside, some fun summer fun activities, and maybe even taking advantage of any summer break you may be having from work, school, whatever it is, to use study.com to get ahead in your academic goals. Definitely something that I did any chance I had, and I'm going to share a little bit about that and how I was able to go back to school in my late 30s, and just kind of how that experience was for me. Going back to school at that point in life is, it's a big decision, but I'm so grateful that I did make that decision. I made a complete career change at that point in my life, and I don't regret it whatsoever. But getting to the point of making that decision, at that phase in life, it's kind of scary. I was already established in a career that I had been in, at that point, 15 plus years. So very comfortable, very familiar. Financially stable, all the things that comes with, being in a career, for that long. And the thought of, kind of disrupting that was really scary. And, actually putting a plan in place to change that. But then there's just life, right? Not only being a full-time employee, but all of the other things that, that life hands you, that you deal with life when you're a little bit older. There's a lot more responsibilities, and the consideration of how could I add school, taking on earning a college degree and everything that entails, with everything that I already have going on in life. It's scary to think of what you may need to sacrifice. I know I thought that thought absolutely crossed my mind. If I'm gonna have to spend my time away off of work, my days off, doing homework, writing papers, doing all these things, what am I going to have to give up, in the meantime? So, there's a lot at stake, going back, and there is a sacrifice. There, are things that you are going to have to miss out on. But one of the beautiful things that I stumbled across on a little bit later, in my degree program than I wish I would have, was study.com. And study.com really helped me with the process of, finding balance, making the process feel a little bit easier because it was completely flexible. I was able to enroll in these courses and do the work when I had the time. It was in addition to, on top of the university courses. I did them simultaneously. So, but again, I was able to take advantage of, like I mentioned earlier in the video, if I had a break from school in between terms, Christmas break, summer break, whenever that was, that's when I hit study.com really hard. Let me see how many courses, I can knock out, I can buckle down. But again, I was able to do it on my time and my flexibility because there isn't that same, structure, timeline, deadlines that there is with the university courses. So I was able to take, a handful of classes through study.com and save the tuition from all of that. It's, a handful of courses that I didn't need to pay for through the university. And then the time, if I had a few days, a week, I could knock out a course, no problem. If, I was doing it while I was doing other things, then, my pace was a little bit slower, but it was still faster than a university course and, and obviously cheaper. So just kind of something to, to add to the toolbox when, you're trying to balance so much later in life. I was able to, complete my undergrad degree, behavior science from University of Arizona Global Campus. And I very quickly moved on to a master's in social work. And now I'm a practicing therapist and was able to see all of that hard work, come into play. And I've been able to, successfully make the career change. So all of the fears, all of the hesitations, all of the reasons I told myself for probably, too long why I should not make the decision to go back to school and to do this, I overcame all of them, and there's no regrets for the decision that I made, and all of the hard work that was probably overwhelming and exceptionally stressful in the moment is not even a thought in my mind anymore. Definitely something in the past. So if you are a little bit later in life, maybe establishing a career and considering go back, do it. That would be my advice. If there's something that you're wanting to pursue it. There are tools like study.com that can help make that easier on you, especially when you have so much to balance, so much else already going on. You can use the discount link that's below in the description here to get a special discount as a new member to study.com. They have a couple different of the college saver programs that you can look at, and depending on where you're at in your academic journey and what your goals are, might be the best fit for you. So if you have any questions about that, or any more questions about my experience going back to school later in life, in my mid 30s, let me know. I'm happy to share more about my experience and help you on yours.